Hey everybody, fellow entrepreneur here. I make crappy videos every day, so subscribe so you don't miss one. And today I want to talk about the coming push for mail-in ballots. The coming, it's already here. The push for mail-in ballots. I made a video about 2 weeks ago on my thoughts on the 2020 election and how I'm afraid it's going to be a huge cluster. That was mostly about holding an election in the middle of a pandemic. Touched on mail-in ballots as maybe a possible solution during that time, but didn't zero in on it exclusively. But I'm seeing a lot of articles and posts and arguments for this on my social media. I think there's a big push, not like it's being directed from someone above, but there just seems to be a big swelling of support, not support. There seems to be a big pushing of the mail-in ballot agenda. Fair enough. And it's a terrible idea. I didn't like it then. I don't like it now. It doesn't make any sense to me. The people I see pushing mail-in ballots the most are the ones who just happen to be the loudest, talking about how elections are hacked and stolen back in 2016, 2017, which doesn't make any sense to me. If you are honestly worried and scared and believe that elections can be hacked easily, or we don't want people tampering with elections, why in the world, why in the hell would you be in support of a mail-in ballot, right? It just seems to me, common sense, I know this might be a little strange, the more hands that go between my ballot being cast and being counted, the more hands in between, the more places that ballot travels, the more people it sees, I would assume the less secure that vote is. That's my hot take for today, right? Why would you want this if you're so concerned about fraudulent elections? It just boggles my mind. This should be the thing you're afraid of the most if you're honestly, really intellectually honest about having tampered elections, right? There's a ton of issues that can come from this. None of them are good. How do I know that my ballot, say that failed entrepreneur does a mail-in ballot, right? First of all, when I put that in my mailbox, how do I know it's actually going to get counted? How do I know that ballot's going to the right place? How do I know it's not getting lost in the mail, right? How do you know? You don't know. It's in good faith. How do I know that my mailman or woman, my postal worker, right, who picks it up or works at the office, how are they trained to handle that ballot, right? They're not. So, they deliver checks and they deliver other important things in mail. That's true, and that's fine. And that's a good argument, actually. I'll concede you that a little bit, right? But ballots are a little bit different than those. So how do I know that they're able to handle that? 2, 3. I forgot what I'm on. What's to say you don't have an overzealous postal worker who goes and grabs up a bunch of ballots, because I'm sure they got to be in some kind of maybe a special envelope or something. I don't know, right? Because some states that do this are saying that this is another issue with it, to validate, I'm trying to combine the two words, make sure the ballot is the real person who's casting it. That's another huge issue. What are we, just envelope stuffing now, right? You have to do a signature on the back of the envelope, and then they compare that signature with the signature on record, right? First of all, you're gonna how many people are gonna forget to put a signature on the back of an envelope? Is that something that you commonly do? I don't usually sign my envelopes. Instantly, all those ballots discounted, thrown away. That's a huge lawsuit right there, right? Or the signatures don't quite match up to what's on the record. Or again, you got people forging signatures. You don't know, you weren't there. Huge issue. Or, I was going back to what I was trying to say, you got a mailman, woman, postal worker, got to be correct, and finds it's not even an issue, but finds a bunch of envelopes with signatures on them, and just decides to throw them away, right? It happens. Go on the internet and look. There's tons of accounts of postal workers who just threw mail away, right? If you are a postal worker in a heavily Democrat or Republican district and you're overzealous and you think you're doing the greater good, what's to say that person doesn't toss away a few ballots and thinks that they're trying to influence the election? No one's gonna know because that ballot is in their hand. It's a huge mess, and I guarantee you that's gonna happen. Someone's gonna step out of their role and be the hero in their mind and start throwing away ballots. Maybe your ballot, maybe my ballot, because they think that they're trying to right 2016's wrong or ensure their guy wins in 2020. It's just a huge recipe for disaster. And again, I don't see how you can be intellectually honest and ask for safer, more secure elections while at the same time pushing this mail-in ballot agenda. Now, again, to be honest and to be fair, I don't trust any other type of balloting or voting besides in person, on my piece of paper, handing it into that machine to be scanned right away. That's the only way that I want to vote. I don't want to do, hell no, I don't want to do any mail-in balloting. I don't want to do any internet voting as well, or voting by app. What a huge, talking about elections being hacked. Why the hell would you want to do this? The Iowa caucus, right? Was it Pete Buttigieg, Bernie Sanders, one of them? They tried to test some kind of voting app in the Iowa caucus this last primary season. Do you remember this? And the app was going to count all the votes. Well, the app, surprise, malfunctioned. The app, surprise, didn't work. The app, surprise, was like miscounting votes. And that could be why Bernie Sanders got potentially screwed in Iowa, is that a lot of votes went Pete Buttigieg's way. Sanders and his operatives were wise, remembered what happened in 2016, and so the story I read is he had his supporters hand counting all of the votes in the room. And the way a caucus is set up is it's a lockdown. You lock yourself into a place and you don't leave until everyone's decided who they're going to vote for. So it's very easy. I mean, it usually takes place in, it seems, basketball gym or something like that. So very easy to count heads and see how many people are voting for who. And Sanders' info didn't match what was released on the apps. So maybe Sanders was miscounting, or maybe the app was a little busted and messing up the count. I don't trust electronic voting. Again, if we're worried about Russian hackers moving elections online, I guess would be playing into their hands. I don't get this as well. It's the same reason why I don't understand how you can be intellectually honest and want more secure elections while at the same time being totally fine to no voter ID, right? Why would you do this? Again, if you want to have real, legit elections, common sense, you just need to put as many restrictions and security features and provisions in place to make sure one vote being count, one person, one vote, one count, and that's it. And by just having any Joe Schmo come up to vote because you don't need voter ID is hugely fraud. It's insecure. It opens up a lot of ways for fraud. Oh, well, maybe it's fraud that supports maybe your political point of view, so that's okay. Intellectually dishonest. That makes me so upset. Again, if we want secure, stronger elections, common sense would be, right? Again, I'm going to reinvent the wheel here. You should have identification that shows who you are. This is me. I'm still alive. I actually live here, and I'm going to go and cast my vote. Otherwise, you can flood it with any number of voters and made-up names or deceased people, and it's just a huge system for abuse. I'll put it like that. And places where they've gone in and looked, like California, there was, I think someone did a review. There was like a couple extra million votes in California, people who moved out, don't live there anymore, maybe never were there in the first place. I don't know. It had to do, they were checking records at the DMV, something like that. I got to look it up. But surprise, no voter ID and a lot of extra voters. Luckily, it's in California, where a place like that isn't going to sway an election. California's pretty solidly blue, and so you can have all your mail-in ballots you want. It's not going to change much electorally over there. But in like swing states, where it's a toss-up, yeah, these things have a real big effect, and this is where you're ripe for tampering. And this is, those are the states you really got to worry about this, because it's just setting up for a disaster in lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. Hey, I'm not that old. I still remember the 2000 election, and I'm telling you, I don't think we've seen anything compared to what happens here in 2020. If it's close at all, if it's even close at all, I would expect many, many lawsuits over all of these. Maybe this is the whole point, is to open the election up for lawsuits. So it's a way to maybe, I don't want to say steal, but a way to keep fighting the election after the election's over. Maybe that's the whole reason for this in the first place, is just to put some feet indoors for later in case they need to be used. I have no idea, but it makes no sense to me. But watch out. There's a big push for this. As we get closer to the election, we're going to see more of it. Some states do it already. Failed entrepreneur. Some states do it already. And you're right. Mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, that's fine. Because you know what? Those are always counted after the election anyways. Those are a really small percent of the total electorate. And usually, I rarely, I can't remember. I'm sure it's happened, but I can't remember a state or anything that had to wait to be called until all the absentee votes get counted in. Usually it's places like, I think, Florida that usually has a ton, it seems. People move for like the winter, or they're on vacation or something like that. But again, usually there's enough vote in the state that the absentee ballots don't really change the vote in any way. Usually it takes weeks for those to be counted. Can you imagine waiting weeks after we cast our votes to see who won the election? Hey, you want more tampering? Here's an extra 2 weeks while we count all these mail-in ballots that you can start doing all your funny business. No way. Again, if we're being intellectually honest and you really want a more secure, tamper-proof election, mail-in ballots is the opposite of that. So you can't have it both ways, okay? Just telling you right now. And if that's fine. If you don't care about secure elections, then mail-in ballots, go right ahead, right? That's your cup of tea, then go do that. But don't come back and tell me you're worried about hacking, foreign interference, or tampering if you were the one pushing for all those things to happen with these mail-in ballots. It makes no sense to me, but I'm seeing a lot of it, so just had to vent. I just want it safe, and I'm an old-fashioned. Wait in line, right? There's some countries, people wait in line for all day. They risk their lives to go and vote, and they still do it. You know what I'm saying? And here in the United States, we're so pampered, or we're so soft, or I don't know. Voting is too much of a burden. It's too hard now. Can't stand in line. So we gotta vote from the convenience of our couch or from our mailbox. Grow up. Right? Wake up. Come on. It's not that once every 4 years, right? I mean, for the presidential election, go out and vote, do your civic duty. If that's too hard, hey, if you don't want to exercise your right to vote, like I said, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. So, and the ballots that are cast late. There's too many. It's a Pandora's box. I'm not in favor of it in any way. Again, if you're being intellectually honest about tampered elections. All right, that was my ramble for today. Thanks for watching. I don't know, leave a comment below. Hey, are you in favor of mail-in ballots? Are you against mail-in ballots? Do you have mail-in ballots at your state? Leave a comment, and thanks for watching. I got things to do today. I know you do too. So, failed entrepreneur, I'll catch you later. Bye.